Well, it's early January here on the Smallholding, and that means one thing: we've got a good couple of months of winter yet. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at what food we've got left from the harvest of last year, and more importantly, how long we think we're going to be able to make them last. Well, last year was definitely a challenging growing season. Every year can be challenging and no harvests are guaranteed, but it was quite a wet and cold year for us here, certainly in the northeast of England. I know for many people around the world as well, the climate was different than what they've seen previously after talking to you guys in the comments. Now, hopefully this year it'll give us a bit more of an easy ride, but we've got to get there first. And that means we'll be getting the seeds sown on a different video. But today I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we've got plenty of food left. Now, let's head over to stores, have a look in there first. We're going to take a quick look in the freezers, the pantry, and talk about what's left in the ground as well. One of our best harvests in 2024 around October, November time was the winter squash harvest. Absolutely thrilled with those, and I'm going to be taking the ones that we like the most and moving forward into 2025. Some of them are faring better than others, and I'm going to show you what they look like now. It's only this week that a few of them have given way to going a bit soft and a little bit mouldy. So these will definitely be the ones that need using up first. Now, one of the best harvests that we had last year were these winter squash of varying varieties. This one here, I was a bit concerned because it's such a large kind of Cinderella style pumpkin. Is it more just for looks? But the taste was absolutely divine. Really enjoyed that one. Unfortunately, you can see some of them are starting to go a little bit mouldy. When you cut into it, it only affects this area around where the mould is. So all of the rest of these pumpkins here in squash will be absolutely fine to use. You can see the skin of this one's starting to go too. The inside flesh at the moment will be fine. So I'm going to make sure that we get to those first, and I've got lots of different meal ideas to share with you. Now, further along here, some of them are faring much better. So these are the Hubbards. This actually might be a new tier, and this is a blue Hubbard, I think. These are faring much better. No signs of any discoloration or any softness, and so these will be getting eaten last. And if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I absolutely love these baked potato squash. These are going to get a bed all of their own this year. I have got about 6 or 7, 8, I've just spotted another one, 8 of these left. And if we have those at a rate of 1 a week, that's going to take us about to the end of February, by my maths anyway. Those squash have fared absolutely fantastically. The baked potato squash have had no moulding on any of them whatsoever, so they would probably last the longest. Some of these red onion squash, some of them didn't fare as well, but they probably got knocked when they were being harvested or something. But the skins on these guys are faring really well too. You can see that's just a little bit bigger than my hand. One of those is enough for for one person. And just to mention, the reason I say these are last is because we have, Stephen and I share one of these. The kids don't enjoy these, so we share one of those. One squash does us one meal, so we have half each. If you come along here, you can see, I mean, obviously these guys are, that won't do just one person, but that, you know, we could use the 2 of those in soup or something like that. But just to show you how these are faring, really pleased with these. And the last one's down here. Just sat waiting to be part of an absolutely delicious meal. But those I'm thrilled with, 100% making a full bed of those this year. Now, just to mention before we head outside to stores as well, I'll show you these in just a second, but some of the other winter squash that we had were the Geet variety. They were absolutely delicious, but didn't store very well at all. So I do think I'll do a couple of those plants next year because they grew quite big and gave us a lot of bang for the buck, but they just didn't store very well. That might have been due to how they were harvested, if they got knocked or something. So we'll give them another go purely for the taste, and also so that next year or this year we can see if we can harvest them a little bit better and if they fare any better in storage. Now, other things that I've got going on here, this is a leek and potato soup that I've already pressure canned. We're making our way through those. There's only 2 jars of that left, but that's the other thing. We've got leeks in the garden. We'll have a look at those. And, well, potatoes in stores. We're going to take a look at that next. But these canned items here, and also what's in the kitchen, will also be featuring on the menu in January and February. Well, welcome to the storeroom. This is a story of 2 tales here. We have got the good, the bad and the ugly. As we said on the New Year's Day video when we were doing our walk around, we'll show you everything. And unfortunately, there's some bad and ugly things going on in stores at the moment. But to be fair, there's also some fantastic things going on. So I'm going to start with those. Now, this little basket of fantasticness has got our extra large onions in. These were the exhibition variety that I harvested with you guys and we went through, and they are doing absolutely amazing. So there's been very little, well, there's been no growth on these ones out here, so they're not shooting for spring or anything like that. They are still as firm, okay, maybe very slightly less firm than when I harvested them, but they are still very, very firm. To be honest, they're probably about as firm as you get from the supermarket, but obviously when you harvest them you notice the difference. And I might even be doing it an injustice saying that, you know. So all of the onions in there. There's one I've just noticed at the back. I have been going through these and keeping an eye on them, but there's one I've just noticed at the back that's probably ready for the compost heap. But I'm absolutely thrilled with how they have kept, and the even better news is they taste fantastic. We've never grown that variety with that success before, and I was concerned with them being so big that they might not taste very nice and that they might not keep very long. But we are at the beginning of January, as I said, and they are keeping fantastically. So as soon as they start to show signs that they're not going to keep for much longer, I'll either freeze them, dehydrate them, or preserve them in a different way. And the plan is, if you're interested, I'm going to take you along probably week by week and show you what we get up to on that side of things, and just see how long we can actually make these last. At the moment, dare I say, I think the onions are going to take us through until the next lot of onions. It won't necessarily be the main crop onions that you see here, maybe more salad onions and spring onions that will grow early on in spring, but I'm hoping that they're going to take us through till when they arrive. Now this is the other side of things here. These are the onions that I put to one side that weren't at the absolute best when we harvested them and just didn't get around to using them. I mean, that's the reality, that, you know, if I've got a really nice onion and a not so nice onion, the cook in me goes for the really nice onion, although I should probably try and use the not so nice ones first. I do sometimes, but not always. And what's happened here is this was quite soft anyway. This is now shooting for spring, as I call it. That's not like a technical term or anything, but it does remind me that spring is on the way because this is ready to regrow again. What I'll do with these ones though, I will put these in the compost and we'll put them back into the ground in the next season when the compost goes on. It won't be for this season in the spring that we're mulching with now, but hopefully it'll be in the winter of 2025. So there's a few of those, but I'm not worried at all because, as I say, we've got these guys here and there's a few more that I'll show you too. Now this is one of the potato trays that we've got left. There's the other small ones here, and I've got some more to the side of me that I've taken out. There's a couple underneath. But the bad news is, there's bad news as much as good news. We have got lots that have started to mould early, and I do believe, I've said this on a previous video, that's due to blight and being in the ground for too long. Now previously people have always said, well, you can leave them in the ground and just harvest at your discretion. It seems that we're getting blight every year here, so that's not going to be an option this year, and we're going to be choosing really early varieties. Now this variety is a Heidi Red. This is actually a really small, this is, all of these in here are the small one, and they've been fantastic. And as much as I'm not going to be trying to grow loads of coloured potatoes this year, because that's what we did last year, I'm definitely going to give the Heidi Red a go again because they're lovely and they're just really happy and pretty. And to be honest, from a health point of view, they've got more antioxidants in them than your standard white potato, and they've survived a lot better than some of the white potatoes too. Now this is the problem that we've been having, if you can see. In stores, Stephen, I thought he'd made it as much as you can, made it rodent proof, but obviously they will get wherever they want to get, and if there's a period of time where you don't come in and keep a check on things, they can do and have done a lot of damage in here. So over Christmas, and even probably just a bit before Christmas, when we weren't going through as much of this stuff on a frequent basis for different reasons, for one reason or another, I wasn't keeping an eye on things, and the rodents have got in here and had an absolute field day. We have lost a ton of I was going to say tomatoes, of potatoes to them. Between that, the blight and the mould, unfortunately we have lost quite a lot of the crop. So what I'm going to do now is get tidied up, get rid of the ones that have either been attacked by the rodents or that have moulded, that I'm thinking are just going to turn, and see what we're left with. Well, that's a really good job done. I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with that. So we've got even more than I thought we did. So these are just the little ones that I showed you at the beginning. I've had a bit of a rejig around, mostly Heidi Reds in there. Interestingly, the mice seem to have just left those alone, not remotely interested. Then I've got all different types of main crop white potatoes in here. There's Cara Foremost, which are really good as well. There's Nicola, Charlotte, quite a few different varieties, all intermingled. These are onions that I thought were going to turn ahead of, like, before the rest. They are looking amazing. Haven't turned at all. So I've just got all of those in the one basket that ready to use up whenever we want them. I didn't show you the garlic, but this is the garlic. I'm so disappointed in the garlic last year. These are starting to shoot. So what I've decided to do, the ones that are already trying the hardest to grow, I'm going to give them another chance, and I'm going to get them in some pots and just see what's produced basically. But really disappointed with the size. Some of the bulbs were reasonable. I mean, even that one's not as big as a lot of the ones we've had. But yeah, the garlic was a disappointment last year. However, we've still got lots of little ones, so that's going to see us through no problem. And then I've got two more quite big tubs. These are heavy of the potatoes as well, so these are a mixture. No, they're not. These are all just the whites, and then in here there's a mixture of, some of them are purple. You'll look at that and think that looks awful. That's just scab. It hasn't affected the potato inside whatsoever. Some of them are already starting to shoot and try and regrow again, so we'll be getting those used. That's still really firm. It's not squishy at all. So there is tons of food here for us to be getting on with. So even if we live on potato and onion soup, I think we're going to be doing all right. They're definitely going to see us through. Well, I hope so. So the plan is to kind of keep you updated on how we're doing with the stores situation. It might not be a dedicated video each time, but if you're interested in a dedicated video, I don't know, in maybe 3 months time to see how we're doing on things, then let me know. Otherwise I'll just do it as and when within the vlogs, etc. Before we head to the big chest freezers, this is the freezer in stores. It's got bits and pieces in here, but mostly sausages off the pigs that we did recently. There's a few, sorry for the lighting, sausage patties down there as well. And then UFOs, like unidentified freezer objects, right at the bottom. So loads for us to be getting on with there. And then the odd shopped bought thing like phyllo pastry, which obviously I bought, used some of it, and then didn't do anything with the rest. So there are plenty of sausages to be seeing us through there, hopefully. Let's go and have a quick look in the freezers. I'm not going to do a deep dive, literally, of the freezers. I'm not going to bore you to death with that, but let's just have a quick look of how they're looking at the moment. Just on the way over to check the freezers out, these are onions that Stephen strung up in our outdoor space. There's 4 lots that are strung up, and they are doing absolutely amazing. They are just as solid as the ones in the storeroom, so they haven't suffered despite being outside in the really bad weather that we've had in the cold. However, I'll probably use those before I use the ones in the storeroom. We're at the 2 chest freezers now, and these are both ram-packed. This freezer here has got a lot of last year's garden produce in it. I tend to put stuff in bags in the freezers because it's just easier to then lift the bag out, which has got all similar contents in. So within here there's all things that are ready to preserve, different currants, tomatoes. This cauliflower is spilling out here. That has been blanched and frozen. Sometimes I don't blanch, more often than not I don't blanch, to be honest, but that one has. I just wanted to see if it made a difference. There are ducks and chickens in here too that are in the freezer paper. You'll see that we've got the odd bag of frozen peas because I make a lot of pea soup for my daughter to take to work. And then in this other freezer, sorry about the lighting here, more peas and more bags. It does look, still looks a mess, but this is actually really organised from my point of view. In here are all chickens. There's a couple out on the top there. In here is all bacon, different types of bacon. We've got all the porky stuff underneath these peas. I don't want to touch them too much because it's too noisy for the camera sometimes. That's actually turkey, boned and rolled leftover from Christmas. Stephen boned the turkey legs out and rolled those. So in here we've got like the pork chops, those kind of things, everything pig related. All of last year's pig is in here, so all of the pork's in the bottom of here, and there's also quite a bit of duck in this freezer too. What an absolutely gorgeous day. It's probably not the best to show you around the garden because some things are still under the frost that we're having here, but right in front of me we've got the Swiss chard to be starting off with from what's left in the garden. This is a variety called Ford Hook, and this is perfectly edible, and even though some of the leaves are looking really droopy, obviously where they've got the brown on them they're not fantastic, go for the chickens, but these here are absolutely ideal to go as the kind of side dish for your greens or whatever. And there's some more over there. Look at the colour of that red, isn't that amazing? Excuse me not looking at you, that sun is just crazy. I've got a few carrots left in the ground, but if you've seen some of the previous videos, they were a bit of a disaster. Even though they were covered up, they succumbed to different things. So unfortunately, we are going to be buying carrots, I think, through the winter. There's still 1 or 2 left, but they're really that small and fiddly that when you kind of need quite a few in a dish, it's not worth using them. But they're okay if you're just using them for some of the smaller things. It's going to be really crunchy underfoot, so I'm going to try and stand still when I hop over here. And we've got the kale for greens, lots of different kales. There's some sprouts left. I think We might be struggling with those, they might be turning a little bit brown, but hopefully underneath it won't be too bad. Lots of different types of, I think this is the Portuguese kale, I can't remember off the top of my head. It shows you as soon as you stop talking varieties for a while. This is the Russian kale though, absolutely fantastic, and all of these guys will pick up again as soon as the spring starts coming around. And there's more cabbages in the distance. There's a few of these Savoy cabbages which I'm hoping are going to have survived the frost. Time will tell, but some of them, again, oh my goodness, excuse the crunch, they will do us at least one meal, if not more, per cabbage. And there's a few all the way along, different spring cabbages. They should pick up once this weather has passed. And then basking in the sun, we have got the first of the purple sprouting broccoli to arrive. Oh, there's some over there ready to eat. The irony of the crunch of the snow and food being ready to eat, isn't that amazing? So all here, everything, even the leaves are edible. So if we do struggle with leaves, if we do struggle with needing more greens, we can use the broccoli leaves if we want to. But I think out here there seems to be quite a lot going on still, despite it being January, which is absolutely thrilling. So just meaning minimal things to get from the supermarket. And we could quite easily say, well, we're not going to buy carrots, for example, from the supermarket, we're going to live without them. That wouldn't be a problem as such. We do use them in quite a lot of dishes though, and it's not just me that's eating, so I'm trying to accommodate everybody. But at least it means it's a lot less things to be buying, and you know, to be knowing where your food's come from. Now behind me, those stalks just in the corner there are Jerusalem artichokes, which I know certain people will be thrilled to know that they are thriving. And as soon as the ground allows, we will be starting to harvest those too. Now in the newest part of our vegetable garden, we also have some of these pretty tiny and pretty pathetic leeks left. They didn't really take off, but having said that, they will eat. So there's a couple of them that went to seed that we just left in. A few at the end there are a little bit thicker, so they will be more substantial in terms of needing less if we do like a leek and potato soup or a stir fry, things like that. But there's more food there at least. And behind me we've also got some beetroot. Now the problem with this bed though is that it's frozen just like everything else, and I'm not too sure how the beetroot will have fared amongst the frost. So we shall see. Once this goes, we'll get some out and we'll have a look, and if they're good then we'll be eating them. If not, then they'll go to the compost or to the chickens. Noisy chickens. And then finally out here, this humongous rosemary, one of my absolutely favourite herbs, and everybody else seems to like it too, thankfully, is thriving. So as much as you can dry rosemary, this is absolutely doing amazing. So we'll be just utilising this throughout the winter rather than anything dried, although as I say, you can dry it and it works out fine. And another thing that's really good dried, which most people will use it dried, is bay. This bay seems to be doing amazing. Whether or not this cold snap is in the middle of hurting it, it's going to ruin it. You know, in a week's time I'll come out and it'll be really unhappy. Time will tell. But I'm going to get a few of these dried in the house as well, just in case. But that's doing really good. So that's outside. Let's have a quick look in the pantry. Now I've still got quite a lot of dried goods from when the dreaded pandemic was on. Different things, not this front bit, but there's stuff at the back there, soup mix and pearl barley, which I got a lot of at that time. I used to get a couple delivered each week for some reason. I've got over that now though. But anyway, there's a lot here to get through dried goods. We use a lot of red split lentils. I've just seen a nice new recipe that includes hemp seeds, basmati rice, etc, etc. We've got the flour, shop bought bread, which will be getting replaced with bringing the bread makers back out. Up here we've got the oats that we absolutely love as a family. We've got the golden syrup that we'll be using, some leftover fruit from Christmas that we didn't get to, some sugar, and there's actually 4 red cabbages for some reason. Not too sure quite what happened there. Different spices and things, and just different kind of jars of, Stephen uses these jalapenos often, so that's something that we want to grow in. We grew it in abundance last year, and there's a lot of those in the freezer, but I want to grow tons of them this year because he really does enjoy those. Just mixed with eggs or with some form of meat or something, he goes through a lot of those. And then underneath here we've got different jars and different things. Obviously the kids enjoy taking part in you know, beans on toast, that kind of stuff, more chocolate spread for the kids, etc. And then coconut milk. We do have a nut allergy in this house, but she's okay with coconut milk. Other bits and pieces that, you know, standard kind of pantry stuff. This is my kombucha brewing station. We'll get to that as well. The kids got Nesquik for Christmas. How funny is that? Different juices for the kids and things like that. Under here, this is my favourite noodles that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to try and replace with homemade, but that is a way off yet because I do a chicken noodle soup and use that in those, and really, really nice. Another thing, we seem to have, for some reason, lots of shop bought stuffing, which is absolutely fine. Different recipes that people have shared with me over the years for using that, so we'll get to that. And then there's different bits and pieces. Oh, actually, these are our potatoes that I've brought in that we will be using. There's some apples under there. I will continue buying sweet potatoes because we don't grow those. Really like them. So that's what the pantry is looking like at the moment. These are just bottles for when we get our raw milk. But yeah, plenty of food to be going at there. Obviously, I haven't showed you everything in all detail there. It'd be super boring to go through that for everybody, I'm sure. We've got lots of different things on these shelves too. But my plan is, over the coming weeks, through January, February, and possibly into March, but essentially through the winter, I will be showing you how we're kind of using up some of this stuff and still trying to live on what we've got left in stores, see how far that pans out. I'll bring you the updates as and when I can. You know, there's going to be lots of simple, just good food, basically, simple, seasonal, good food. Healthy after the indulgences of Christmas, and that'll hopefully set us off on the right foot for the year to come. So if you're interested in seeing any of that, then keep tuning in. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you very soon.